up, Sauce Gang, and welcome back to the channel. Hot Sauce Beats here with a dope reaction for you. We just got done checking out Call Me Chris for the very first time on a reaction we did to Sam and Colby. And yes, I know she's got other videos with Sam and Colby, which we are gonna be checking out. But today, we're gonna get our learn on about Call Me Chris because we're peeping out Anthony Padilla's brand new video, How Call Me Chris Accidentally Got 100 Million Followers. I spent a day with Call Me Chris. As you guys know, I absolutely loved everything about Call Me Chris from what I've seen on her video with Sam and Colby. So I'm beyond hype for this, and I'm excited to get into the world of Call Me Chris. But before we jump in the video, make sure you show Anthony Padilla and Call Me Chris some love by subscribing to their channels. And if you enjoy my reaction, smash that subscribe button because it greatly helps. But enough talking, let's get to reacting and roll that bomb acid intro.
Hot Sauce Beats is finally here. Hot Sauce Beats is finally here. Eat, sleep, make beats. Eat, sleep, make beats.
Hot Sauce Beats. Woo-hoo. Cause it's time. Cause it's time. Let's go.
You don't mind being silly. You don't mind
Totally.
looking like an idiot. You know, you just like having fun.
I look like an idiot too.
I said looking like.
He kind of called her an idiot.
What do you
It's
think
okay
happens when you take a hairdresser battling mental illness and suddenly drop them into performing comedy for nearly 100 million followers and subscribers?
though. That's a lot of followers, Chet.
I'm Anthony Padilla, and I spent today with Call Me Chris to find out.
Let's
Hello,
go.
Chris Collins.
Yes.
Now again, chat, I don't know much at all about her other than the little bit that we've seen on Sam and Colby, but instantly she has this like infectious personality that just draws you in. So I'm ready. Let's get this started.
This episode is sponsored by
I can't wait
BetterHelp
to
Online
watch.
Therapy. Visit
I think the next Sam and Colby we're gonna react to is the Crescent Hotel one, which you said she's on there because you said I gotta watch that first before the Goatman's Bridge one, and that is the one I'm beyond hype for, chat.
BetterHelp.com/Padilla because sometimes existing is exhausting.
And then I think you said
and if you want to watch
she
this
has-
episode completely uncensored,
She has
and
some ghost hunting
unsponsored,
videos on her
click the
channel,
join
right?
button down
With
below to become a
Celine,
member.
is that her
Members are gonna be
name?
getting some very cool things. very
Celine?
soon. Anyway,
Do you want to know my full name? A
Is
lot
it-
of people
okay.
don't know it.
yeah, is this
I don't know.
like a reveal?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Christina Lee Hallowell Collins.
Why 4 names? Just
That's
like,
a lot of
My
names.
parents hate me. My
That's a lot
dad
of
wanted me to have
names.
his last name. My mom wanted me to have hers.
So do people, I guess I didn't pay attention on Sam and Colby. Do people just call her Chris? Is that
And now it's a nightmare in airports.
Call me
I
Chris.
don't even want to talk about it. Anyway,
So just over 2 years ago, you were a hairdresser. Mm-hmm. Now almost 50 million followers on TikTok.
yeah.
Over 8 million subscribers on YouTube.
I don't get it either.
Are you able to be
That
like,
is
oh yeah, that's me. That
crazy.
number makes sense next to my name.
I don't know why you invited me. Like I'm in a constant state of imposter syndrome. Like it's
Imposter
amazing.
syndrome's
It's
real.
crazy. It's happened so fast.
Yeah.
But I am in just I wake up every day and I feel like I'm in this like fever dream. Like a month and a half into the pandemic, I had to like close my doors. I wasn't a hairdresser anymore. I had nothing else to do, so I needed something to occupy my time.
Started
or
making
else I would
content?
Explode. So I found TikTok and I started making like 5 to 7 videos every single day.
What?
For over a year. I think the first time
Wow.
I went viral was like only a month in, and I thought it was like a one-hit wonder kind of thing. But then every video that followed that kind of did the same thing and just kept growing and growing. It didn't really feel real because I was just stuck in my parents' basement suite making videos, and then I
Dude,
didn't
that's
get
so
out of
epic.
it. Oh, they didn't trap me down there.
Okay.
you cannot leave?
Okay. I was gonna let you finish your sentence, and I was gonna ask.
People recognized me and stuff, and that's kind of when it started to feel real. But I still went back to hairdressing until I was like well over 15 million because I didn't think that this was a job.
What has it been like going
Oh,
from
dude.
being a full-time hairdresser to being funny for a living?
As a hairdresser, I was more of a listener, and I would just listen to people talk about
Very true.
stuff they probably shouldn't be talking to me about.
I feel like that ends up
Hey,
happening
people like
with
to talk to
hairdressers,
strangers,
is
dude.
People kind
They
of
like to
just
give 'em
talk as
info.
if they're
The
a
shit
therapist
that
or
I know.
I mean, hairdressers, barbershops, barbers, people who cut hair, like they are therapists, 100%, dude. Because that's what you do when you go get your haircut. You talk about your life issues.
I can't even say it. You know who you are. It's really helped me come out of my box because, like, my family always, told me I'm mildly funny and that kind of thing. And it's,
they would say, "Oh,
You're
Chris,
like-
you're mildly
"You're-
funny."
Mildly
okay.
funny.
Shut it down a little bit, all right? Calm down.
Has any of this changed your perception of yourself?
I watch YouTube all the time growing up, and I think all of us at one point look at it and be like, oh, that'd be so cool to do that. But like for me, I grew up in an extremely strict environment. They wanted us to get a 9-to-5 job with a pension and that kind of thing. So I think when it started to happen, I was like, oh, but this isn't gonna be like, this can't. And I still kind of feel like that. Like I kind of wake up every day being like, it'll go away like today. And I'm okay with
gone.
that, I think.
Gone.
I feel like I've made a cool impact.
Should I turn this up
And
a little
if it
bit,
was
chat?
to all go away tomorrow, I'd be like, well, that sucks, but like, I'll figure out something else to do.
Do you feel pressure to churn out more and more content?
Listen, I was posting over a year straight, never
Yeah.
took a day off. I still, to this
Bro, that's
day, have not
crazy.
taken more than 2 or 3 days in a row off of posting.
You haven't taken a vacation?
See, I tried. I tried to go to Iceland for a week by myself. I was like, bah, I'm gonna leave my phone at home. Like,
This is like, no, I'm gonna make a bunch of
and then
content from it.
I vlogged the whole thing. I haven't had a vacation, like an actual vacation, in like 7 years.
I like that though. That's that like hard work mentality that a lot of people unfortunately just don't have, and then they complain about why, you know, stuff isn't going their way. Like, if you put in the work, and I'm not saying, oh, if you put in the work 100%, your dreams will come true, because you do need a smidge bit of luck on your side. But luck is just really opportunity presenting itself because of the hard work that you put into it. I love people who are motivated and don't make excuses and put in that work, because it should happen.
Think that you'll get burnt out by doing all that?
I have.
Oh yeah, you're already burnt out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've been burnt out for a long time, but I'm working on it.
Is there a plan
It's a
here?
thing.
You're aware of
It's a
it.
thing.
No, I never have a plan.
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
I probably
You
can.
can. You
You just
There's some physics that you can.
cut it
You
open,
can master.
shove it down,
that's
like my
true.
feelings.
Oh.
Yeah.
My
Keep it
feelings,
bottled up.
I'm
Exactly.
dead
If it explodes,
inside.
it explodes, and it's not your fault.
Exactly.
You told me that you are, or you grew up an introvert. So is it
Yeah.
strange now? Everywhere you go, someone wants to talk to you, and you now
Yeah.
talk back.
Extroverted introvert.
Can you imagine if I
and
didn't?
introverted extrovert.
No, like I said, like I'm cool to talk to people, but I definitely have like a social meter that depletes really, really quickly. It's like being on all the time, because if I meet somebody in public that watches me, I want them to have the best experience they can with me.
I've met
Dude, she
people
seems so
before,
humble.
and they're like, "Oh my God, are you Anthony Padilla?" And I'm like, "Yeah, hi." And then they're standing there for a moment, because it's kind of like sometimes you don't know what to say especially when they're just like,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
and then they're like, "You're not as funny in person."
Yeah.
They've literally said,
You're kind of
What?
ugly,
You're
to be
not.
honest.
You're not funny. I'm like, what the f do you expect me to do?
Kids are the worst for that too.
Yeah.
You got everyone you meet, you just got to tell a joke. That's baby hands.
Why are your hands so big? Like I started with those damn tiny hands, man. They're haunting me every day.
Why? Because they want that people
The
want
kids
nothing
want
but
it.
tiny hands.
They hate it when they see my hands are actually kind of small. But
But they look big compared to your tiny hand props.
anyway, so I carry tiny hands like everywhere I go.
What has been your
Just in
wildest
case.
fan experience?
People that come up and they don't know who you are, but they see
Yeah.
you're taking photos with other
Yeah.
people. Like, I don't know who you are, but this is just in case. Like, this is an insurance photo.
That happened to me all the time, especially because I used to have this very prominent emo hair. And people would be
Yes.
like, "Who is it? Oh, are you Never Shout Never? Jimmy? Are you
Never Shout- I don't know who that
Brandon
is.
Uri?" And it
Oh my
was,
god.
I don't know who any of those people
would
are.
take pictures with me without ever knowing who I was.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
so
really
that-
weird.
It is.
You know what?
It's
Or here,
really
hold on.
weird.
Let
Like, I
me
would
let me
never
point
do
it out
that.
when they
No.
I'd
turn
be like, I don't know who you are, but I'm
the
gonna take a
angle.
photo with you.
It's like an inside.
I will never look at this picture the same ever since the Matt Pat interview. There's something in there supposedly, or either they were messing with us. I don't know. I'm gullible, so they could mess with me, but
into the human psyche where they
Supposedly
just
there's
want to
some
be
lore in that
part
picture.
of
Yes.
something.
Yes,
Lore.
that's exactly what it is. VidCon was crazy because it was like hundreds of thousands of people
Hmm.
and like couldn't walk around and do that kind of stuff. And I was like, wow, this is weird.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I don't know, like just like a regular Joe,
Yeah.
you know, like a moron.
You know.
I'm a regular moron.
Should I start
More
that
special
again?
than
Hello,
that.
regular Joe. Good to meet you. I feel like the thing that you're doing that's special, it's almost like you can't quite put it into words if you don't experience it.
Yeah.
And when I posted that I was going to be interviewing you, so many people said that you've changed their life, you've inspired them. And I think a huge part of that is you can kind of tell that you just enjoy doing it. You don't mind being silly. You don't mind
Totally.
looking like an idiot. You know,
Yeah.
you just like having fun.
Thanks.
it's like,
I said looking like.
I didn't say you're an idiot. I said looking like an idiot. There's a difference. One's a compliment, I think.
No, it's all right. I'm an idiot. That's all right. No, but it's true. I really don't care. And
Yeah.
I think that's maybe a big part of it too. A big part of being like a woman in the space, especially the comedy space. Too many people care about maybe how they look or what they're joking about or that. And I like try to tread carefully, but also trying to like cross through those parallels of like what I can joke about, what I can't joke about.
wait
When I grew up
to
watching
react to the
like
next
Brandon Rogers
one with
kind of
her
thing,
and Sam and
he
Colby.
just didn't give a shit. He was just dressing up and calling people out on their shit and doing this. And I'm like, I hope comedy gets back to that space. I think it's important to like be okay with looking like an idiot.
Well, I think that you're actually helping to bring that back in a big
I hope
sense.
so. I
Let's make looking like an idiot great again.
mean, I guess I put on makeup today. I dressed up for you. This is about as dressed up as I get. Like, it doesn't get
Well, you
any
look
better
damn
than this.
good.
I was gonna come in sweats, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna put on all leather, which is super smart under these really hot lights.
Yes. I hope you're nice and toasty.
Plus one for
I hope we're
warmth.
melting off all your makeup.
Yeah.
How do you think humor shapes your life?
I don't think I'd be here if I didn't have the people I looked up to, like Robin Williams and Jim Carrey. It's really rounded me out as a
07's
person,
for Robin
and
Williams,
my whole
chat.
personality maybe revolves
Love
around it
Robin
now.
Williams.
And maybe I've talked about that in therapy, maybe not, and maybe I go into accents. Another thing, sorry if
About
I
comedy
do
being
that.
kind of like a coping mechanism.
Yeah, for sure. Which I think it is for like anybody really.
I think
space.
I think they say that most funny people are use comedy as a way to cope,
Shield.
or
Mask.
or look at a negative situation with humor instead.
It's totally true, and it is who I am. But I'm also
I just realized, does she have the inside of her? Oh my God, I bet that would hurt, chat. Ow!
very transparent online.
Dude, imagine getting that pierced, bro. Fudge.
With that I do use that to mask. It's not like a secret. Me making other
She sounds
people
like she's
happy
getting over being
makes me
sick.
happy.
She sounds a little
So maybe
stuffy.
it's a little bit like
little
selfish
stuffy.
because I'm just like I want to put all this content out, see how people react to it, and if they're really positive, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Not necessarily about the numbers, but more about the reaction.
Yeah, when I first got started creating comedy sketches with Smosh, that was the biggest drive was seeing the feedback, seeing that
reactions.
people were
People like, "Oh my God, it's the
affected
funniest
in
thing ever!"
positive ways. You know,
Yeah.
they were able to see
is
that
so funny.
maybe life's not so serious. Maybe all the negative things that they see in life, a little spin could be thrown into their perspective.
50
and it would actually be
million
kind of
followers
fun.
on
Yeah,
TikTok chat.
absolutely. That's like the whole
Jeez.
point of why I do it. And
Yeah.
with my type of comedy too, like I try to put in, jokes about mental health or addiction or that kind of, like I have characters that are alcoholics that like go to AA meetings and like usually you don't kind of see that anymore.
Yeah.
And it's people don't even really realize that I'm doing that, I think. But then they can also resonate it in a way because like I grew up in that kind of space, so I'm like it helps me to kind of joke about it.
You even mentioned that you had therapists with multiple S's.
Lots of S's, yes.
How many?
Lots of S's.
Like a lot. I've had a therapist literally tell me that I'm just too self-aware and that there's nothing she can do.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, oh no,
Like you.
it's all down
Oh no, governor. That's how I deal with this, governor, with the British accent.
here for me.
They're like,
Yeah.
I guess I'm just listening.
They're like, yeah, that happened to me as a kid, but I think it was because of this and this and this, and this is probably why I'm like this. Or like,
I was gonna say that.
she tossed the notepad and she's like, I got nothing to say.
You've been fired by a
But I
therapist.
kind of appreciated that. Like if she knew out of the get-go that she's like, I don't know what to do. And I'd be
That's
like,
true.
that's
That's
gonna
true.
be my whole life.
Because I think most therapists like would just not. They'd still like try and help you. Don't get me wrong, but like they obviously want to get paid, so they're not gonna be like, yeah, we can't do nothing for you. Bye. They'll be like, oh, really? What do you tell me how you feel about that?
Any of the
Tell me
characters
how you feel
are
about that.
parts of you yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Like one of my most beloved characters, Riley, who's the one with the little hand and the Colorado tube. Or beanie, as
Yeah.
you say in the States.
Yeah, why is it called a beanie though? Actually, now that you bring it to beanie,
Yeah.
where are the beans?
I don't know. There's like those little beanie bears that you used to get.
Oh, like a beanie baby.
Yeah, it's like a beanie baby. She like represented me as a child. I was very mischievous, like always trying to crack jokes. Maybe I was always called like an old soul, maybe a little smarter than I should have been as a kid, or maybe too curious. And, like, Janet, her mom, is like who I'm afraid to become. She's like a wino mom. She was maybe represents a lot of my clients I had while I was a hairdresser, who just hates her life, doesn't really like the fact that she has kids, that kind of thing.
When,
But
yeah, after the haircut, she was like, "You're like, how do you like it?" She's like, "Hate it."
yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Sucks. There
It's
goes your
interesting that you
tip.
say maybe too curious. I don't think there's any issue with being curious at all, but we're told when we're young to stop asking why,
Yeah,
to just do the
questions.
thing,
Shh.
to just listen.
Yeah, don't ask questions. Especially growing up in a strict household.
Yeah.
Or, I love my parents, by the way. They're probably watching. Love you. It's in a strict religious household.
Just in
And
case.
I just always had questions about like, well, why is this happening? Or like, why did this happen? Like if we're reading the Bible or something like that. And I have nothing against it. I think I grew up with good morals and all that. Got kicked out of Sunday school because I was asking too many questions.
They don't want you to ask questions. You just got to sit there and listen. No questions. You either understand it, but you don't. Or you don't. Not but you don't. I think growing up, I was the exact same way. I've always been a very acquisitive person. Always like want to know the meaning behind things, why they work the way that they do. And I think when you grow up with that mentality, and even as an adult mentality, you're just constantly learning, and you're almost in this constant like state of growth, which is a good thing to have, because you're always like trying to better yourself, you know?
And I think it's good to ask questions.
That's kind of fucked up. You wanted to know too much? You were too curious?
Yeah, I was just curious as to how, this guy walks on water and changes water into wine. I was like, how does he do
Pretty
it?
curious about that
I
too.
don't understand.
You're like, is it a metaphor?
I was like, tell me the secret. Like, I want to do that.
I
don't wanna
would
be
be a
Jesus.
billionaire for
Please
wine.
don't put that.
Be like, bro, give me
know what
that
I mean?
water.
You literally got kicked out of Sunday school.
I had to sit outside. They're just like, okay, you need to. You're like, you're turning the kids the other way. They're like, yeah, what she said. What's going on with that?
You're making the other kids ask questions. They're supposed to just fall in line.
Making it sound so bad.
What do you mean he walks on
Get out of
water?
here.
You can't walk on water.
Yeah,
You
no,
only
genuinely. I
swim.
felt like more curious than other kids. Not even just in religion, but just in everything.
You're very vulnerable with your mental health journey. You even made a video that you released on your YouTube channel
Yes.
called Battling Mental Illness. That was one of the most raw videos I've ever seen of someone, especially who has as big of a following as you, talking about their struggles. Looking at the comments, there's so many people related and really appreciated you being transparent, because so many people are going through very similar things, and a lot of people just
True.
don't
We all
want to
struggle.
get
We
into
all
that. They
struggle,
don't wanna
chat. I do
seem
daily.
weak.
Yeah, no, that's a huge part of it. And I mean,
I think that's a big thing too, that I love when creators do this and kind of let everyone see their vulnerable side. It just gets, we all look up to content creators or, basketball stars or football or soccer or whatever. And a lot of times I feel like you feel like you're alone and no one else understands what you're going through. But when someone, say like Call Me Chris right there, when she let herself be vulnerable and showed her fans that, it just makes it 100% relatable. And those people who are feeling that way are like, I know I'm not alone. Call Me Chris is struggling today, and I'm struggling too. And she's going to be okay, so I'm going to be okay,
I mean, especially, let's just talk about this space. Like, you don't want to look like that. Like, you want to be somebody's positive the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard to just open up and be like, hey, I'm not good. And I think a lot of people in this space feel like they can't talk about that because we are in such a privileged position. Coming into this already struggling with mental health since I was 12, it was kind of hard to accept the fact that I was like, okay, I gotta push it away and not talk about it because I can't seem like I'm
Always act so
ungrateful for what I
happy.
have. Like, I can't be depressed anymore because I have this job. But then I was like, I don't think I'll be able to keep that up. So I was just like, I just sat down with the camera and I was like, listen. I was like, I just put it
Listen,
out on the
Linda.
table and I had no idea how people were going to react to it. And like you said, it was just people welcomed me with open arms and they were thankful or they
good.
could relate to stuff.
Really
or
good.
that. And I'm like, okay, this is good. So they know I'm a person because I think those lines get blurred and they're like, oh no, they're just some person that sits in their studio and they're just like an
Yeah.
NPC. And then they just turn on.
They're just breathing like this,
Yeah. Like,
because otherwise you wouldn't know they're alive.
exactly.
Right? So
Exactly. And I didn't even think it would humanize me at that point, but I think that's kind of what it did.
I think that's part of why it's inspirational, is you know, people can look at you and say, I deal with a lot
Yeah,
of
this is a pretty good interview. I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah.
But I can see that you can push through that.
Yes.
You can, you know, be funny still. You can find, you can have a sense of humor about the world, and I think that's what inspires people to be more like you.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah, no, I hope people can look at it and be like, oh, she can be happy in this while she's still like working on herself. And then maybe on the other side of the coin, it's like there are some people that look totally cool on the outside, and it's like they're really not. And we look at, you know,
I think that's how most people do it, though, right? Is they put up a facade like everything's okay,
and that kind of thing. So
most of the
I
people
hope it
that
also helps with people checking
struggle,
in on other
you
people.
have no idea
or
they're
maybe
struggling.
realizing that
you know?
just because
Everyone has a battle
they
that they're
exude
fighting.
all this positivity, that maybe it's not like that on the inside.
Do you think there are any things from your childhood that you experienced that kind of set you up to become who you've become, kind of given you the mindset that you have? And you know, I think right now is the perfect time to thank everyone who has become a member of this channel, which obviously you can do by clicking the join button down below. Everyone who's become a member is directly supporting this series, and of course you also get to watch this show without any ads, without any
like button,
sponsorship,
chat.
completely
Subscribe.
uncensored. So a huge thank you to everyone who's become a member so far. I'd also like to thank HelloFresh for sponsoring this episode. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit that delivers farm fresh, pre-measured.
That is a long ad read, fam.
Things from your childhood that you experienced that kind of set you up to
2
become
minutes,
who
minute and a
you've
half.
become, kind of given you the mindset that you have.
I mean, yeah, probably the whole thing.
The whole
To be honest.
the whole childhood equals who you become as an adult? That's how it works?
Yeah, kind of.
The foundation sets everything up?
I mean, I guess it was maybe how I grew up and like my family that I grew up in, because I am the second oldest out of 6.
Damn.
Wow.
That's a lot
Right?
under one household. Did you each have your own bedroom?
Chat, jeez.
You live in a mansion?
We shared. I was always on the top bunk.
Okay.
No, there was multiple people in multiple rooms. I had 4 younger siblings that me and my older sister basically took care of. I mean, as soon as my mom like popped the 3rd one out, she's like, "You do you." I mean, she was still mom, but like exactly. No, literally. No, that's what she said. She's like,
she said that?
Yeah, it's more in numbers. She's like, as soon as you have a couple, then they can just take care of the rest, or like, you know. But she worked full time. She worked full time. She was providing for us. So Jessica and I became the babysitters, the chauffeurs when we could drive, and all that kind of stuff. So we grew up really fast.
That's a packed house.
And I feel like that we kind of got like shoved aside a little bit, and then
I got
more
2
of the
kids, and
attention
I think
was on
that's
the
a
younger
lot.
ones. So, but then my sister was also just so talented at literally everything, which was so annoying. I was always Jessica's sister. That's my sister's name. And it was like, oh, you're Jessica's little sister. You're Jessica, because she was so good at sports and so A pluses. And I'm just like, they're just. You know? And so I think
you ruined everything
like,
for me.
with all my already like mental health issues and all this kind of stuff, I kind of wanted to shine in any way I could in the family and try to get maybe a little bit of attention. So that was cracking jokes, maybe being a little bit of an asshole sometimes, so my parents would notice me, which I've realized now. I would just get into trouble because I'd be like, oh, cool, they're talking to me.
Yeah. Well, when you can't get it, you can't just go and ask for it.
No, exactly. So
Hey, can you pay attention to me for just real quick?
right?
Just a moment.
Yeah, so I was testing material on them for years, figuring out what worked, what didn't work, what might have got me in jail.
Did you run into the law a lot?
Not a lot. I wasn't like a criminal.
You're not a fugitive right now? Like, this is legal?
Are you posting?
I see your ankles.
Stop.
There's no ankle bracelet thingy.
Don't lick my wrists. Anyway, no. I was in the back of a cop car once, but it wasn't because I was like going to jail. So that's probably for the best. But anyway, I was a little bit of a rebel.
You got into shenanigans.
A little bit of a rebel.
Yeah.
I was a rebel.
Don't be like me when I was younger. Even when I was doing that stuff, or I was doing bad stuff, or I was getting in trouble, I always found a way to make my parents laugh. Like if they're trying to lecture me.
When they know they shouldn't laugh?
You stop it! Like you shouldn't have done that. And I'd just be like, well, I'd just say something funny, and they're just like, you son of a bitch.
They're like,
I gotta walk out of the room, and they're giggle, and then come back and be like, okay, I got their attention
grounded.
from getting in trouble. And then they're like, you're funny. Have you been here the whole time? Like this is.
do you think you got into less trouble with your parents because you were funny?
They found me endearing.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think they're just like.
They're like, I want to punish that little thing, but.
That's Christina. She's a little
So
shit,
funny.
but she's kind of funny. So that just extended me into realizing, okay, I took the positive out of that. I'm not gonna, you know, be a little shit anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna try to make people laugh.
Write out this
And I just got
sense
so
of humor.
much joy out of that.
See where it takes
Growing
me.
up, you would go to school, you would make people laugh, you would be, you know, a very carefree, kind of fun person. You would come home, and then that mask, it was too much for you to.
That's when
too
I
much weight to bear.
That's when I got in
Mask
trouble.
off.
Like, because I would be like, you ask anybody I went to school with, and I was always on, like, always trying to, like, nobody knew, even my best friend, until I made that video, the mental health video. She didn't know.
Oh,
that
wow.
I was struggling, and
So she
and
just
I
never
got in
told
trouble a lot at
anybody,
home because
dude.
I was just an ass to my parents and my family because I was tired. Like, I was so tired of, like, holding that mask up all day. And I realize that now. I didn't realize it back then. And
tough,
it was more
fam.
stigmatized back
Like I
then.
said, we all do it.
I didn't feel comfortable telling my parents. I didn't even really know what depression was or whatever. So until I grew up with people, a close friend of mine that took his life because of it. And I think that's kind of what like triggered me to ask my parents for help. To see the reaction of everybody after that happened was awful, and my own, you know, because like you think about it, or you think about not being here anymore, and it's nothing to you because you're like, well, it's just me, nobody's gonna give a shit if I go. But then if somebody close to it happens, you know,
you're kind of like, why didn't they tell anyone? Why didn't they ask for help? Why didn't I know?
Yeah, exactly. But like, and then I look back at myself and I'm like, oh wait, I'm not talking to anybody, and I'm letting it fester, and like I don't want to get to that point. So. And
you're putting up a mask when you're in public and no one would ever know.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that, I mean, that's by design, you know, and I feel like a lot of people do that. And
I agree. I think most of us do that.
I did when I was younger. Like,
and just to like kind of reiterate on that, chat, I mean, and you know, if you're a fan of this channel, we've talked about this many times. Like, I know it's tough to talk to someone, but if you're feeling any sort of being down and you're struggling with life, like, you gotta talk to someone. You know, if you're not comfortable talking to someone, you know, a family member, a friend, talk to a counselor, get professional help, talk to a therapist, just anybody. Like, I can't tell you how many times, you know, I've been down or mad or sad or whatever, and just you just got all that weight of the world on your shoulders, and the second you start talking to anybody about it, you feel like 1,000 pounds lighter. You feel that weight coming off. I mean, massive difference.
Usually if I'm sitting down and having a serious conversation like this, like I'm trying to find ways to make this light and make it a joke, but so I have to work on not doing that because that's what I always did. And I just don't like people looking at me like you're looking at me very seriously right now, and I'm just you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's very vulnerable for a lot of people.
You don't like when people look at you seriously, like
it's hard for me to stay in a serious conversation. Yeah. Because
I'm
like
the same way though.
It makes you feel like vulnerable, and I don't want people to feel like pity over me. I don't want people to feel like I'm a burden to them. It's like that's what you do naturally as a person. Like, I have friends that have opened up to me, or family members that have opened up to me about depression or addiction or something like that, and you want to keep checking in on them, but you also just need to treat them like a human, because that's all I want. You know, it's like you can have the concern, but it's hard.
I wonder if any of that comes from being one of the older siblings, feeling like you had to be,
I bet 100% it does,
caretaker in some sense for certain parts of your family, because I dealt with that kind of feeling as well. Growing up in a household with a single mother, and then you know, my brother's dad, who was in the family, he left abruptly. My grandma, who was in the family, died, and then my mom, who has agoraphobia, had no way of getting out of the house on her own, so I felt like it was my responsibility. I think for a large portion of my life, I felt like it was my responsibility to make sure that I was not a burden, because the people in my life that were closest to me already had so much burden, and I wasn't
deep
about
stuff
to be
right here, Chad.
the reason that
I didn't realize. So you never know, right? You never know going into these interviews with anything Padilla, like what the context is going to be about, what they're going to talk about. And bro, this has been probably one of the more darker and just deep interviews we've seen from Anthony, and I love it. This is stuff that needs to be talked about.
Push them beyond their means of burden that they were already experiencing.
Yeah, no, I get that wholeheartedly. And that's like, yeah, that's a lot to take on as a kid. Like, so you naturally grow up in that space where you're just like, okay, everybody's really fragile right now, and I am a bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
And I gotta be the tiniest bull and just, yeah, no, exactly. So, and hopefully, I mean, hopefully you don't feel like that anymore. I know I'm working on it, but it's hard. It's
It's
hard.
gotten a lot better, especially because I've been able to talk about these feelings
Good.
with
Yeah,
my
yeah.
mom now,
Oh,
with my
good.
parents now.
Yeah.
And just them knowing that I felt like that
Yeah.
has helped a lot. And I think it's given them perspective to know, to come from more of a perspective of not making me feel like I need to be the parent anymore.
Good.
Which is,
That's
Yeah,
good.
that's huge.
really good.
But
Yeah.
yeah, very similar.
what is it about doing what you do that brings you the most joy?
Seeing the joy that it brings to other people. That's easy. I think it gives me
Facts.
purpose.
100% agree.
And maybe that shouldn't be for a lot of people with their job, but for me, it has worked out that like my job fills me with joy, and it gives me purpose, and it fuels me to continue to do what I do.
Aw.
Distract yourself,
Exactly.
escapism.
Also, like, just very depressed at that time, just in general. But like, who isn't?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
I mean, true though.
I'm gonna joke about stuff that's not appropriate to joke about, and that is a coping mechanism. So I'm
100%.
sorry
I think it's appropriate to joke about things because it opens the door to discussion.
Agreed.
about that. Do I have to pay you after this for therapy?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, the pandemic.
Let's go, bro. That was so good.
You don't-
let me stop that. Let me bring you in, Sauce Gang, dude. Again, you never know what you're gonna get when you go into these Anthony Padilla interviews because you just don't know the context, what they're gonna talk about, and yeah, this was a very serious, semi-dark interview, but it's stuff that needs to be talked about because so many of us struggle daily. We have mental illness, depression, and just a lot. Everybody's fighting their own battles. Even the happiest of persons is still struggling with demons that you don't know about. There's someone next to you that you have no clue what they're dealing with. And I don't know, what I really like about Chris is she's just so, like, you just see her and she's so like humble and relatable that I love the fact that she was vulnerable enough to let people see that side of her. Because I bet you, even outside of making people laugh, her being vulnerable like that and letting people know that she's struggling, I bet that helped so many freaking people, dude. Because again, we're not alone. As bad as the day is, tomorrow's always a new day that you can work towards, getting yourself out of that hole and seeing the light. So this was amazing, chat. Like I said, we're gonna see some more Call Me Chris on this channel. First off, she's got more videos with Sam and Colby that we're gonna peep out. I think we're definitely gonna do the Crescent Hotel next, Goatman's Bridge after that. And I know she has at least one ghost hunting video on her channel with Celine, I think. So I'm beyond hyped for this. I absolutely love this interview. Show Anthony and Call Me Chris some love by subscribing to their channels. And if you enjoyed my reaction, please help support the channel by smashing that subscribe and like button. It's absolutely free and it greatly helps out the channel. Enjoy the rest of your day. And remember, it's eat, sleep, and make beats, and as usual, we kind of one another. That's all I got. Boom, I'm out. Got nothing but love for the Sauce Gang. Peace out, Sauce Gang.